an Oxford cleric, still a student though, one who had taken logic long ago, was there. His horse was thinner than a rake. Poor horse. And he was not too fat, I undertake, but had a hollow look, a sober stare. The thread upon his overcoat was bare. He had no preferment in the church, and he was too unworldly to make search for secular employment. By his bed he preferred having 20 books in red and black of Aristotle's philosophy, than costly clothes or fiddle or psaltery. Though a philosopher, as I have told, he had not found the stone for making gold. Whatever money from his friends he took, he spent on learning or another book, and prayed for them most earnestly, returning thanks to them thus for playing for his learning. His only care was study, and indeed he never spoke a word more than was need. Formal at that, respectful in the extreme, short, to the point, and lofty in his theme. A tone of moral virtue filled his speech, and gladly would he learn and gladly teach. I am pleased to say that our dear host has spoken not but the truth about my life. I certainly place great value on education, and would never be slow to share my knowledge with others. Now as for the tale which I will share, I do so only because I have been asked to do this by our host, who says I have spoken too few words on our journey. The story which I shall share with you is not like some of the others' tales, which aim to please. Instead, I tell the story which comes from the clerk Francis Petrarch, and that also attempts to guide the individual in their quest to become a better human being. And so I begin my tale. There lived a Marquis of Saluzzo, who was named Walter. His men came to him one day and requested that he marry soon before he is too old, so that their minds could be put at ease. The king then traveled to a village where he chose the daughter of a poor man to be his wife. The maiden's name was Griselda, and she was most beautiful and virtuous despite her rough upbringing. She promised her new husband that she would remain steadfast and obedient as long as she might live. Soon after being married, Griselda had a daughter. Walter decided to test the goodness and obedience of his wife by taking her newborn child from her and planning on killing her. Griselda obediently refrained from showing emotion when her child was torn from her, staying strong and not wavering from her faithfulness to her husband. In 4 years' time, Griselda had a son who was 2 years of age, and just as with their daughter, Walter tested his wife's obedience yet again by tearing her son from her. Yet again, Griselda shows no sign of wavering from her loyalty to Walter, despite being under the belief that he had their 2 children murdered. When his daughter was 12 years of age, Walter forged papal documents to divorce his wife. He ordered his 2 children be brought to him, spreading the news that he would wed the young girl. He sent Griselda back to her father's home, with nothing but a smock to cover her body, then soon asked her to prepare his new bride for their wedding. After still remaining steadfast in her obedience to Walter, her husband came forth to Griselda and told her that the bride was actually her daughter, and that the girl's brother was her son. After 12 years of testing his wife, Walter had fully confirmed his wife's obedience, so he took her back into his home and promised her his full trust from there on. I tell this story not to suggest that all women should follow Griselda in her humility, for that is, frankly, impossible. Instead, look to her adversity and trust in God as a guide for life. Allow God to show you the path of life and believe that your faith in Him will set you right. To husbands of the world, do not spend your life searching for a Griselda, for you are highly unlikely to find one. They are much too rare in these times. Just as I choose to remain silent on this journey, Griselda chose to do the same throughout her life. We both know that silence is a far greater in purpose and in power than is endless and pointless speaking. I hope that all of my fellow pilgrims heed this tale which I have told, for my purpose here on this journey is to gain and share knowledge of the world with all those who might listen. I vie not for the meager prize of a meal, but to spread the life-sustaining qualities found in reading and in studying literature.